Now that you've learned about the 6-step sales process, it's time to learn from a leader who is an expert in the sales process. As you'll learn in the following interview, James Dentley has been a salesman all his life. Listen and learn from a skilled leader in the art of personal selling.
As a small child, I would sell the big little Kool-Aid and take my mother's Kool-Aid and the sugar in a pitcher and make it and put it in those little Dixie cups, and I would freeze it and I would sell it to the kids, flip it upside down, and they would suck on it all day. I'd sell it for a nickel and a dime to all the kids, and I understood very early that by doing that I can make additional income. What I didn't really realize is that there was overhead that was involved because I was using somebody else's product basically for free. But I like the fact that I could create ways to make money. You know, we grew up as a struggling family. My mother was a single parent with myself and my 3 sisters, so I always wanted to better make my own money, make my own way, and make my mother proud. So started there. As I grew up, I found that selling involved just more than transferring a product. It's really about transferring a philosophy or an idea or a point of view. When I got into restaurant management at 18 years of age, I was the youngest manager at a fast food restaurant, and all of my employees were older than me, so I really had to sell them on listening to me, to making things happen, to being better. And I always had one of the best crews in the entire company because I led it by example, and I found that by leading by example and learning to communicate with people and really listen to them and their needs and speak into their needs and be able to address them and let them know that I cared about them, that I was able to sell people on that point of view. I'm currently with a company called Boracia Coffee International. And with Boracia Coffee International, we have the world's only thermogenic fat-burning coffee and tea in the entire world. Understanding that there was a need that had to be filled. Right now, with the health-related diseases and so many things that are happening throughout the world concerning individuals and their weight and their stress and stress-related eating and things of that nature, there's such a need for healthy products to get to the market, but not just healthy products, products that can really make a difference that had real, true science behind it. So in believing that product, it was very easy for me to be able to market that. And I also sell my own products with Mentor to Million. I teach individuals how to become better communicators. I teach individuals how to learn different selling techniques and really how to listen. Because a big part of communication is really listening. People will really tell you what they want to hear if you really pay attention and you listen with intent, as I like to phrase it. I love when I have a great product or a great concept to offer, and I love when a person gets it, or when I listen to them and they tell me exactly what I need to hear so I can erase all of their excuses and be able to create tremendous value to let them know that they can't afford not to have what it is that I'm offering. And I love that part of it because it lets me know that, number one, I'm not going to sell it if I don't believe in it. It lets me know that I made a difference somewhere, and I really feel good about that. But also let me know that I was a great communicator, and in that particular instance, I was on point with another. I made the human connection. I made that human connection, and because most of the people I sell to, they also become not just clients but friends. Some days things are not going to go right. Some days we're not going to be in that zone. Some days Michael Jordan is some of the greatest athletes or the greatest success stories. Some days things just didn't go right. And you got to pick yourself right back up and not take it personal and not confuse that I had a bad day with I'm a failure. Don't confuse that something didn't go right or somebody didn't buy your product, that something's wrong with the product or something's wrong with you. You just take it in stride. You get back up. You study your the field that you're in, and you just go back out there and you get better and better, and you just learn to grow through as you go through. Well, I like to meet people everywhere that I go. So when I have a product, I keep my product with me. I keep my literature with me, and everywhere I go, I ask questions. I say hello. I smile. I give genuine compliments. I build relationships. There's a lot of organizations you can go to, like meetup.com, and they have a tremendous amount of organizations where people want to get together. You know, in this human experience, the ability and the opportunity to connect, I believe, is one of the most powerful things that drives us as people, that we want to be connected to someone else with a like mind, somebody else that can help us grow or that we can synergize with. You know, so when you go on the internet and you look at different business marketing and networking organizations, you want to plug into as many of them as you can and get to know people genuinely and listen to their point of view, and you'll find that what you're looking for is also looking for you. I do a lot with referrals. I go through friends, family members, and business associates. Everyone I do business with is a customer of mine, or I start doing business with other people. Because I learned a long time ago that every person I meet is a conduit to another 50 people that I would never know. And those 50 people are conduits to hundreds of people and then thousands of people. So I use the MCI theory. I just go through people who know people who know people who know people, and my best customers are always those who come from referrals. But every now and then you can go through the Internet, and you can do a lot of creative things with your websites, with squeeze pages and offering free gifts and give away so much unbelievable value that people are curious, and then they want to come and then they join your community. Because if you look at what's taking place on the Internet right now with LinkedIn.com and all the other social networking sites that are out there, it's all about creating an active community. And when you get people talking, then you can filter them right into your process, and that's how you can get your customers. I learned to handle objections before they come up. I'm talking to someone and I want them to do something, enroll into something, then I know that time is usually a factor, money is a factor for them. So I always address it, and credibility, is it really real? So I kind of address those things up front. And just to give you an example, I'll say something that, look, if a person can't afford to do it, they really cannot afford not to do it. Because how long have you had this problem? Years ago, I met a gentleman who was 23 years of age. I was in my 30s. And he wanted me to get involved in an organization. It cost $500, and I didn't have the money. And he looked at me and said, well, James, how long have you worked for a living? And I said, I worked for myself and other people for 18 years. He looked at me and he said, well, look, right now, he said, you mean to tell me you worked 18 years and you don't have an additional $500 to invest in yourself? Now, that wasn't a very comfortable place for me to be, and I didn't really know him. Followed up, and he said, if you go back to work for the next 18 years and it's just as good as the first 18, will you have it then? So he planted a seed and made me think. But what he did is that he took me to a point of tension by asking me, by making a statement, you worked for 18 years, you don't have any money. But he released it by saying, if you go back another 18 years, will you have it then? Look, that's not the point. If you do, then he brought a solution into the equation. So when you're talking to people, you always want to deal with the objections ahead of time. If they don't have enough time, you want to let them say, you will tell them, look, great, the reason I'm talking to you because you're a very busy individual, you don't have enough time. And this is what this is designed to do. It's designed for people who have very little time. So they can't come back and say, well, I don't have enough time, because I already said, hey, this is designed for people who don't have it. If they don't have the money, I'm already going to tell them through my presentation why you can't. There's so much value there that you can't afford not to do it. As a matter of fact, this is going to solve some of your problems or some of your challenges. Most people make the mistake of thinking about what they want to say, and they're not even listening to the client. So just remember this one phrase, that questions control conversation. You ask the right questions. Now, how much money do you need to make? Or how would this product potentially help you? Or how would you solve this particular problem? You know, if you're in sales, you're really in the problem-solving business. You know, people have an issue, and you're going to sell them something that's going to solve that issue or bring that issue to rest, whether it be in an opportunity or whether it be an actual product. You know, I also have a car dealership, so we're car sales. So how do you get someone to really want to get that car? You know, you point out the benefits of that car, but then you understand there's an emotional attachment. So you look and find out what their favorite color is. You find out about their children and how many children they're going to be transporting. How old are those children? You want to make sure the car is safe, and you talk about the things that bring value to the experience that customer really wants for their life from that experience with that product. So you want to try to attach all those things, but make sure you really realize you're talking to a person. And you don't have to say anything that's not true. Just ask them a series of questions. Ask them about questions about that you already covered about their finances if you're dealing with an automobile or a tangible product that you're going to be selling them. Okay, if it's a vacuum cleaner. Okay, you want to point out the benefits and say, can you see the benefit of a vacuum cleaner that can also paint your house? And they say, yes. These are enrolling questions. You want to ask questions where you know the answer 90% of the time is going to be yes. Oh, number one, not listening. Number two, giving a drink of water with a fire hose. You know, trying to give you every benefit and feature and trying to talk over your head about the product instead of asking simple questions and then Most people don't ask for the sale. They wait for the customer, because the hardest thing that people have, the biggest thing people have challenges with, is asking the customer for a check, asking for payment, asking them to move to action. You've got to become great at a call to action. You push it forward, push the paperwork forward, press hard 3 copies. We're going to make this thing happen together. Or I'm going to be here as your service provider to make sure everything goes smoothly for you, and I'll check back with you from time to time. Most people never do that. They never ask for the sale. Well, the main thing is that I never met a winner who didn't expect to win. That people who are great in any industry, they know their stuff. They study it, and they know that you have to be bad before you can be good. You have to be good before you can be great. Before any of that can happen, you got to do something. You got to take action. Don't worry about the results. Worry about the technique and go through the numbers. Make the true, authentic human connection with people. Learn to like people. Then it's never going to be work. Learn to create value for people. And learn to always build your database. Learn that when you're selling one thing, you're really selling yourself, and you have an opportunity in the future to offer other things and bring them to the market later to that same customer that you build a relationship that now you might be able to call a friend. So just be true to your industry. Study your industry. Don't beat yourself up. Don't get too emotional. Don't let artificial highs, because they have real valleys. Don't get caught up in the successes and the glory of it. Just stay steady. Keep long-term vision. Always keep getting better. Always, always, always. Keep getting better. Keep growing. Keep reading. Keep learning. And hang around people who want to play at a high level, and I promise you, you have everything you ever wanted.
Congratulations on learning from leaders. After hearing the tricks of the trade from a lifelong salesman, you are now ready to put your personal selling plan into action.